It's no secret that men are visual creatures. That phrase gets repeated often, sometimes with judgment, sometimes with humor, but rarely with real understanding. Yes, men tend to notice physical appearance first, but to assume it stops at superficial attraction misses the deeper truth. When a man sees a woman, his attention may begin with what's on the outside, but what he's really looking for is a feeling. That first visual impression is more than just about curves or features. It's about energy, presence, emotional signals his brain is picking up in real time, even if he doesn't fully realize it. Attraction for men is immediate, but not always shallow. They might look at a woman's eyes, smile, posture, or the way she carries herself, but what they're instinctively trying to read is, how does this woman make me feel? Does she seem warm, confident, open? Does she look like someone who values herself? These are questions the brain asks in seconds through visual cues alone. So while it might seem like a man is just noticing her appearance, what's actually happening is a complex mix of instinct and emotional curiosity. This is where the misunderstanding often lies. People assume men look at beauty and stop there. But the truth is, beauty without emotional resonance fades fast. A woman can be conventionally attractive, but if her energy feels guarded, disconnected, or uncertain, it creates emotional distance. On the other hand, a woman who might not match every beauty standard but walks with presence, smiles with sincerity, connects with her eyes, that's unforgettable. It's not just the face or figure he remembers, it's their feeling she gave off the moment he saw her. Men are also wired to notice contrast. They pay attention to the combination of different elements, softness and strength, elegance and playfulness, mystery and warmth. It's why the same woman can appear entirely different depending on her energy. One day she blends in, the next day she turns heads, simply because she's more connected to herself. That shift doesn't come from external changes. It comes from alignment, from how she feels in her own skin. Attraction may start with the eyes, but it doesn't end there. What hooks a man's interest is often unspoken, the way her eyes meet his without hesitation, the genuine smile that hints at joy, the relaxed body language that says she's comfortable being seen. These are visual cues, yes, but they communicate emotional depth. That's what makes the difference between fleeting attraction and lasting impression. So yes, men look, but they're not just looking for beauty. They're looking for a story, a signal, a spark that makes them feel something real. That spark, more often than not, starts with how a woman chooses to show up in her own body, with her own energy, fully and unapologetically herself. That's what truly draws them in. When a man first looks at a woman, his eyes are naturally drawn to hers, not just because they're beautiful, but because they hold the clearest reflection of who she is in that moment. Eyes are more than just a feature. They are emotional indicators. They show whether someone is confident, nervous, guarded, or open. And men, even if they don't consciously realize it, are highly attuned to that. The eyes can signal warmth, curiosity, even playfulness without a single word being spoken. That first glance can be everything. It either invites someone in or puts up an invisible wall. Men are often stereotyped as only caring about physical appearance, but the truth is more layered. While they are wired to notice looks, what they're really seeking is a connection, a feeling, a spark. The eyes are often the first place they go to find that. A woman can be stunning by every standard, but if there's no life behind the eyes, no sense of presence or emotion, it creates a disconnect. It's as if something is missing. On the other hand, when a woman looks at you with that spark in her eyes, that light, that confidence, it's unforgettable. It tells a man, I'm here, I see you. I'm not hiding. That's the moment most men crave. Not just beauty, but a moment of emotional resonance. When a man sees a woman's eyes light up in conversation, or the way she holds his gaze with quiet confidence, he feels drawn in. It's not about dominance or flirtation. It's about whether he feels acknowledged, welcomed, even challenged in the right way. Eye contact is the first place where trust is either built or broken. A woman who can meet someone's gaze without shrinking, without overcompensating, but just being grounded and natural. That's power. That's presence. Even in passing, a glance can leave a mark. Have you ever had someone look at you just long enough for it to feel electric, but not so long that it felt forced? That moment of eye contact is often what makes someone stop in their tracks. Men might notice physical features, but it's the way a woman looks back that tells them if there's more beneath the surface. Is she aware of her own value? Is she emotionally available? Is she hiding behind her appearance? Or is she showing up as her full self? So while men might begin with the eyes, what they're really searching for in that look is a deeper emotional cue. A glance that feels like an opening. A look that isn't desperate for approval, but confident in its own energy. That's what creates magnetism. That's what stays with a man after he walks away. In a world obsessed with external beauty, it's that moment of soulful eye contact that quietly redefines the game. After the eyes, the very next thing men tend to notice is a woman's smile. It's not just about how white her teeth are or how perfectly shaped her lips might be. It's about the feeling the smile gives off. A genuine smile radiates warmth, openness, and a sense of ease. It tells a man, even without words, "You're safe to be yourself here." In that moment, it's not the physical appearance of the smile that matters most, but the emotional tone it sets. A woman who smiles from a place of authenticity creates an invisible pull. It's an unspoken invitation that says, "I enjoy life, I enjoy myself, I'm comfortable in this moment." What's fascinating is that a smile doesn't just show how a woman feels. It also influences how a man feels in her presence. Men are drawn to women who seem happy, not because they expect constant positivity, but because a woman's energy often sets the emotional tone for any interaction. A warm smile signals that she's emotionally present, approachable, and capable of joy. It makes her instantly more magnetic, not in the artificial sense, but in the most human way possible. People want to be around others who make them feel good. And that starts with something as simple as a smile. This is why many men remember the smile more than any other feature after a first meeting. A woman could be wearing the perfect outfit, have a stunning figure and flawless hair, but if her smile is forced, guarded, or completely absent, it sends a mixed message. It can come across as disinterested or emotionally unavailable. On the flip side, when a woman smiles naturally, without needing to impress, without needing validation, it becomes one of the most powerful things she can offer. That smile becomes a signature of her energy. Men pay attention to that. And here's the part that often gets overlooked. Men aren't just looking for beauty. They're looking for comfort, for permission to relax. In a world full of pressure, expectations, and competition, a woman's smile can cut through all that noise. It says, "You can be at ease here. This is a safe, joyful space." That matters more than most people realize. It's not about trying to look happy all the time. It's about letting the smile reflect who you actually are in that moment. The truth is, a smile is more than just an expression. It's a message. It says something about a woman's self-esteem, how she feels about her life, and how she responds to the world around her. Men notice it not only because it's attractive, but because it tells them what kind of experience they might have in her presence. And in a split second, that smile can make all the difference between being forgettable and being unforgettable. Hair might not seem like the most obvious thing for a man to notice, but it consistently ranks as one of the first features that catches his attention. And it's not just about whether it's long or short. straight or curly, dark or light. It's about what the hair represents on a deeper level. Hair carries with it an unspoken energy. It frames the face, completes the overall look, and gives subtle cues about personality, lifestyle, and how a woman expresses herself. Even without realizing it, men notice the way a woman's hair moves, how she styles it, whether she touches it when she's talking. It all contributes to the impression she makes. There's something undeniably captivating about hair that looks alive. It doesn't need to be or perfect. It just needs to feel like it belongs to someone who takes care of herself, not out of vanity, but out of self-respect. Men don't necessarily care if a woman spent 2 hours getting it right. What they pick up on is whether her hair reflects effort, individuality, and confidence. Whether it's messy in a carefree way or done up with intention, the way a woman wears her hair tells a silent story. It gives off a vibe, playful, powerful, elegant, edgy, and men pick up on that vibe faster than they realize. There's also a movement to hair that creates natural allure. Think about how hair falls over the shoulder when she leans forward, how it catches the light, how it responds to the wind. These tiny moments carry far more weight than we give them credit for. It's not about seduction, it's about presence. Hair can be incredibly feminine, not because it conforms to a certain beauty standard, but because it's expressive, and men notice that expression. They notice whether a woman hides behind her hair or uses it as a way to show up fully in her body. What men often don't articulate is that hair plays into a much broader emotional picture. It signals vitality, self-love, even emotional availability. A woman who runs her fingers through her hair while laughing doesn't just look beautiful, she looks alive. It's not just aesthetics, it's about how comfortable she is in her own skin, how she feels about being seen. That's the real magnetism. It's not the hair itself, it's the energy it carries. Even in subtle ways, the hair helps set the emotional tone of an encounter. A bold haircut might signal confidence. Natural curls worn proudly might hint at authenticity. Hair that moves freely might suggest someone who isn't afraid to live freely. All of that is taken in, often in seconds, and it forms part of the first impression, whether a man is conscious of it or not. So while hair might not be the first thing he names, it's certainly one of the first things he feels. It's not because he's looking for perfection. It's because hair is often the first sign that she's showing up as her true self. Long before a man even registers the finer details of a woman's physical appearance, he's subconsciously reading her body language. It's one of the most immediate and powerful forms of non-verbal communication. Before he notices what she's wearing or how she looks, he notices how she moves, how she walks into a room, how she carries herself when no one's watching, the way she holds her posture, her gestures, even how she reacts in conversation. These are the real signals that capture his attention, because they reveal not just how she looks, but how she feels about herself. Body language is like a silent truth. It tells a man whether a woman is grounded, anxious, open, or guarded, without a single word. A woman who stands tall, who takes up space with ease, who walks with calm confidence, doesn't need to say anything flashy to be noticed. She already commands attention through presence alone. And that kind of energy doesn't scream, it resonates. It says, I know who I am. I don't need to prove anything. That's powerful. That's attractive. Men are drawn to confidence not because they want someone who's always in control, but because confidence signals emotional safety. It shows that a woman is comfortable in her own skin. A woman who crosses her arms tightly, avoids eye contact, fidgets constantly, or slouches sends the opposite message. Even if she's physically beautiful, her body says she's hiding, protecting, shrinking. Disconnect that tension is what pushes someone away without either of them realizing why. On the other hand, relaxed and open body language tells a man that she's available, not just physically, but emotionally. The way she tilts her head when listening, the way her hands move when she speaks, the rhythm of her walk, all of these cues reveal her level of self-trust. It's not about being bold or loud. It's about being aligned with herself. Even something as simple as a soft lean forward in conversation can say more than an entire paragraph of words. It shows interest, warmth, comfort. Men notice that. They feel that. This is why two women could look nearly identical physically, yet one draws more attention because of her energy. Body language bridges that gap between appearance and emotional impact. It's the way a woman fills the space around her that makes the difference. And when that body language is effortless, grounded, and honest, it creates a presence that's hard to ignore. Attraction is more than just what we see, it's what we feel. Body language speaks directly to that. It reveals what a woman believes about herself. Is she worthy? Is she emotionally safe? Is she showing up with her full self or holding back? Men may not consciously process all of this in the moment, but it absolutely shapes their instinctual response. Because before the words, before the smile, even before the hair, it's her presence that speaks loudest. Yes, men do look at a woman's figure. That's not a secret, and there's no need to dance around it. But what's often misunderstood is why they do. It's not just about physical attraction. It's about how a woman inhabits her body, how she embraces it, moves in it, and whether she seems comfortable within it. Men don't just look at curves or shape in isolation. They're reading context. Is she hiding or confident? Does she own her presence or shrink it? That's what actually grabs attention and holds it. A man might initially notice the outline of a waist or the sway of hips, but what draws him in deeper is the energy behind it. A woman who accepts her body, no matter its size or shape, radiates something magnetic. It's not perfection that's captivating, it's comfort. It's the way she walks without apology, sits without adjusting herself constantly, and dresses in a way that highlights her instead of hiding her. That quiet confidence is what truly turns heads. It's not about having the ideal figure. It's about how she connects to the one she already has. There's also something primal in the way men react to a woman's form, but even then, it's never just about sex. It's about feeling something alive, something expressive. A woman who is fully in tune with her body naturally becomes more attractive because her presence feels real. She's not overthinking every movement or posture. She's not performing. That authenticity is what makes her stand out, even in a room full of people. Her body becomes a reflection of how she lives, not how she looks. Interestingly, men can tell when a woman is disconnected from herself. When she covers up out of shame, when she's always adjusting her clothes, when her body language is stiff or guarded, it creates a block. Not because it makes her less beautiful, but because it makes her less reachable. A man might find her attractive, but he won't feel drawn in emotionally if her energy says, "I'm not comfortable being seen." On the other hand, when a woman walks with natural rhythm, when her movements feel aligned with her energy, it opens a door that physical beauty alone cannot. This is why the figure matters, but not in the way people often assume. It's not about measuring up to a standard, it's about embodiment. It's about being grounded in your own skin. A woman's figure, when expressed through confidence and acceptance, becomes more than a visual detail. It becomes a signature of her self-respect, her sensuality, and her wholeness. Men notice curves, sure, but they stay for the feeling those curves carry, the feeling of someone who is at home within herself. That's what lingers in his mind after she's gone. Not just how she looked, but how she was in her body. That feeling speaks louder than anything else.